Did you know living in London could actually be damaging your mental health? You might think it's just stress, but it's deeper than that. From the endless noise and sky-high rents to the silent loneliness in a sea of people, life in the capital is quietly pushing millions to the edge. If you've ever felt drained, disconnected, or just off without knowing why, this video is for you. Backed by research and real experiences, we're breaking down the 10 hidden reasons London life might be driving you insane. Stick around, you'll never see the city the same way again. Number 10. Lack of community spirit. In a city as vast and diverse as London, you'd expect a strong sense of community, but for many residents, that feeling is strangely absent. People often live side by side without ever exchanging more than a nod. Neighbours remain strangers, and local connections rarely go beyond casual small talk. The pace of life, long work hours, and constant movement create an environment where genuine social bonds are hard to form, and even harder to maintain. Research from the Campaign to End Loneliness shows that urban areas like London report significantly lower levels of community engagement compared to rural regions. As populations grow and housing becomes more transient, residents feel less rooted, less invested in their neighbourhoods, and more emotionally isolated. You might live in the same building for years and still not know the names of the people living above or below you. Without that sense of belonging, many begin to feel disconnected, not just from others but from the city itself. When was the last time you felt part of something bigger than yourself, beyond your job or social circle? Humans are wired for connection and cooperation, yet London often encourages individualism and independence at the cost of collective support. Community spirit isn't just about block parties or street chats. It's about feeling seen, valued, and part of a shared experience. Without that, city life starts to feel cold, transactional, and emotionally empty. In a place bursting with life, it's the absence of human connection that hits the hardest. London doesn't lack people, it lacks community energy, and without it, many residents are left feeling like they live among millions, yet belong nowhere at all. Number 9. The rat race mentality. In London, it's not just about living, it's about competing. The city's energy thrives on ambition, but that energy often transforms into an exhausting rat race mentality. Everyone seems to be in a hurry to climb higher, earn more, get ahead. Success isn't just encouraged, it's expected. That pressure to keep up can quietly eat away at your self-worth, making you feel like whatever you're doing is never quite enough. You're not just living, you're chasing. A report from University College London highlights how social comparison in large cities plays a major role in rising anxiety levels. In a place where wealth, status, and lifestyle are constantly on display through luxury cars, designer fashion, and high-rise living, it's easy to feel like you're falling behind. Even scrolling through social media becomes a mental minefield. You compare your real life to other people's highlight reels, reinforcing the belief that success is always out of reach. Over time, this comparison game fuels imposter syndrome, stress, and chronic dissatisfaction. Think about how often you evaluate your progress against someone else's. In London, it becomes a reflex. Whether it's your salary, your postcode, or the size of your flat, everything feels measured. That constant need to prove yourself doesn't motivate, it drains. Instead of feeling proud of your growth, you're left questioning if it's good enough. In a city full of achievers, the pressure to perform never truly ends. The rat race isn't just about career, it's a mindset that invades your identity, your relationships, and your sense of peace. And the scariest part, most people don't even realize they're in it until they're already burned out. Number 8. Overstimulation everywhere. London is a city that never slows down, and neither does your nervous system. Bright lights, flashing ads, buzzing phones, street performers, honking cars, and crowded spaces all combine to create an environment of constant sensory overload. The human brain simply wasn't designed to process so many inputs at once, every single day. Living in this non-stop stimulation loop means your mind is constantly juggling attention, filtering noise, and trying to stay alert, and it's exhausting. Neuroscientists from King's College London explain that chronic overstimulation leads to what's known as attention fatigue, a state where the brain's ability to concentrate, regulate emotions, and stay calm is severely impaired. In cities like London, where there's rarely a quiet moment or an empty visual field, your mental bandwidth is stretched thin. The result? More anxiety, less patience, and a heightened sense of mental chaos. Even moments of supposed rest, like scrolling on your phone or walking down Oxford Street, expose you to hundreds of rapid-fire images and noises. Ask yourself, when was the last time your mind felt truly still? For many, the answer is never. In London, overstimulation becomes the default setting, and because everyone is moving at the same speed, it begins to feel normal, even though it's slowly wearing you down. Your brain craves simplicity, rhythm, and moments of pause. Without them, you're living in a constant low-level stress state. Over time, this leads to mental fatigue, mood swings, and emotional burnout. When everything is always on, your ability to think clearly, feel deeply, and live mindfully switches off. London's intensity may fuel ambition, but it also leaves many people mentally depleted. Number 7. Endless queue culture. In London, waiting in line is practically a way of life. From bus stops to coffee shops, post offices to nightclubs, there's almost always a queue, and while Londoners are known for their orderly patience, the reality is that this constant stop-and-wait lifestyle adds a hidden layer of mental fatigue. It's not just about standing still. It's about the constant drain of lost time, frustration, and the sense that your life is on pause, far more often than it should be. Psychologists have found that repeated delays and waiting experiences can lead to what's called cognitive fatigue, a kind of mental tiredness that makes it harder to focus, control emotions, or stay motivated. When queuing becomes a daily habit, especially during commutes or errands, your brain starts associating everyday tasks with stress and tension. A 2022 behavioral study in urban environments showed that people in high-density cities like London report higher levels of irritability and impulsivity, often caused by seemingly minor things, like queues. Have you ever been stuck in a queue and felt your blood pressure rise, even if you weren't in a rush? That's not just impatience, it's the psychological toll of a life that rarely flows smoothly. It's the subtle message that your time isn't yours. Over time, this contributes to a feeling of being trapped in a system where control is constantly out of reach. The more often you're made to wait, for service, for transport, for progress, the more it reinforces a sense of powerlessness. In London, queues aren't just a sign of demand, they're a daily reminder that even your time, the most personal resource you have, is constantly slipping away. Number 6. Minimal green space for the masses. While London is home to some stunning parks like Hyde Park and Regent's Park, not everyone has access to them, and for many, they're not part of everyday life. In densely packed boroughs, especially in East and South London, residents often live far from large green spaces, or have no gardens at all. These pockets of concrete and grey leave people feeling boxed in, cut off from the natural world. For a city as advanced as London, the lack of daily interaction with nature is a silent, growing issue. According to studies published by Natural England, access to green spaces is directly linked to reduced stress, improved focus, and better overall mental health. Yet, not all Londoners enjoy equal exposure to these benefits. Communities in lower-income areas are far more likely to live in nature-deprived neighbourhoods, where high-rise flats and traffic replace trees and grass. Even when green spaces exist, overcrowding, noise, and limited time off work often make them feel more like tourist zones than places for true relaxation or connection. When was the last time you walked barefoot on grass or sat under a tree in silence? Nature has a calming effect on the brain, but in London it's often treated as a luxury experience instead of a daily rite. Without regular access to natural environments, people feel more anxious, disconnected, and overstimulated. The constant exposure to pavement, screens, and synthetic surroundings keeps the mind in urban overdrive. Green space isn't just about beauty, it's about balance. And in London, that balance is missing for far too many. A city without nature is a city that slowly forgets how to breathe. Number 5. The grind culture trap. In London, there's an unspoken rule. If you're not hustling, you're falling behind. The city thrives on ambition, but that ambition often mutates into toxic grind culture. People wear overwork like a badge of honor. Late nights, weekend shifts, back-to-back meetings, all in pursuit of success. It creates a cycle where rest feels like laziness, and burnout is just another milestone. Over time, this constant push for productivity begins to erode your mental clarity, your relationships, and even your sense of identity. Psychologists warn that always-on culture leads to chronic stress, sleep disorders, and emotional burnout. A study by the Mental Health Foundation found that nearly 74% of UK adults feel so overwhelmed by work that they are unable to cope. In London, the pressure is amplified by competitive industries, high living costs, and social comparison. Emails don't stop after 6 p.m., and many juggle side hustles just to make ends meet. The boundary between personal time and professional life disappears, making true relaxation almost impossible. When was the last time you took a day off without guilt? In London, rest isn't seen as a necessity, but a luxury few can afford. People start measuring their worth by their output, not their well-being. The more you do, the more you're expected to do. It becomes a trap where slowing down feels like failure. And even when you stop working, your mind keeps racing. In a city that never pauses, the pressure to keep moving is constant, and it's silently pushing people toward mental and emotional collapse. Grind culture isn't just unsustainable, it's destructive. Number 4. Isolation in the crowd. It's one of London's biggest paradoxes, being surrounded by millions, yet feeling completely alone. Despite the packed trains, busy streets, and crowded cafes, a surprising number of Londoners report feeling socially disconnected. The pace of the city is fast, the routines are rigid, and interactions are often brief or purely functional. It creates a culture where people coexist, but rarely connect. You can pass hundreds of faces a day and never share a smile, let alone a conversation. A 2023 study by King's College London found that nearly 1 in 4 residents experience regular feelings of loneliness. Urban loneliness, as researchers call it, isn't just about being alone. It's the painful feeling of lacking meaningful connections, even when surrounded by people. This type of emotional isolation increases the risk of depression, anxiety, and even early mortality. When your social life revolves around appointments, texts, and occasional catch-ups, it's easy to lose that sense of genuine human warmth. You begin to question whether you're truly seen or just another face in the crowd. Think about your last week. How many meaningful conversations did you have outside of work or errands? In a city where everyone's hustling, people often don't have the time or the energy to build real community. Neighbors barely know each other. Friendships are often spread across long distances, divided by different tube lines and busy schedules. Without regular, heartfelt connection, it's easy to feel like you're living in your own bubble, even while surrounded by millions. In London, isolation doesn't always look like solitude. Sometimes, it looks like a crowded platform where no one makes eye contact. Number 3. The constant noise pollution. In London, silence is a luxury most people never experience. From the moment you step outside, you're greeted by a relentless stream of sirens, construction, car horns, and crowded foot traffic. Even at night, when the city seems to sleep, there's still the distant hum of traffic, emergency vehicles, or late-night revelers. This constant exposure to urban noise may seem harmless at first, but over time, it takes a serious toll on your mental health and quality of life. According to the World Health Organization, prolonged exposure to high levels of environmental noise is linked to sleep disorders, elevated cortisol levels, and increased risks of anxiety and heart disease. Your brain is wired to respond to noise as a potential threat. So even if you're not consciously aware of it, your body remains in a heightened state of alertness. In a city like London, where the noise never stops, your nervous system rarely gets a chance to reset. The result: chronic stress, poor concentration, and mental exhaustion. Have you ever found yourself irritated for no clear reason? That may be the sound of the city wearing you down. Most Londoners don't even notice how loud their environment has become. They've simply adapted, but this adaptation comes at a cost. Restless sleep, heightened irritability, and a reduced ability to focus or relax. Without quiet moments to decompress, the brain never fully recovers. And for those living near busy roads, train lines, or nightlife hubs, the impact is even greater. In London, noise pollution isn't background noise, it's a constant intruder that disrupts your ability to find peace of mind. Number 2. Sky-high living costs. Living in London comes with a price, a very steep price. From rent and utilities to groceries and transport, the cost of surviving in the capital can be overwhelming. It's not uncommon for Londoners to spend over half their income on rent alone, leaving very little room for savings, leisure, or emergencies. Even a modest studio flat in a central zone can feel like a luxury, forcing many to share homes with multiple flatmates, well into their 30s, sometimes even with strangers. That financial pressure becomes a constant mental burden, quietly eating away at well-being. According to data from the Office for National Statistics, housing affordability in London is among the worst in the UK. The relentless rise in rental prices, paired with stagnant wages, forces many into lower quality living conditions or long commutes from outer boroughs. A simple coffee can cost £5 or more, and even basic groceries are priced higher than in other parts of the country. This creates an environment where people are always calculating, always budgeting, always sacrificing, even for essentials. Over time, that scarcity mindset creates a sense of anxiety, insecurity, and burnout. Ask yourself, how often do you feel financially free? For many Londoners, the answer is never. When every meal out feels like a luxury and saving feels impossible, it's no wonder people begin to feel trapped. The high cost of living isn't just an economic issue, it's a psychological weight. The stress of not being able to afford a simple night out or worrying about rent increases creates a sense of instability that makes people feel like they're running on a treadmill, working endlessly, yet never really getting ahead. Number 1. The commute chaos. Every day, millions of Londoners pack themselves into overcrowded tubes, stand in long queues at bus stops, and navigate through gridlock traffic just to get to work. What should be a simple journey often turns into a battle of noise, frustration, and stress. The city's aging infrastructure, combined with a growing population, means that even a short trip across town can feel like an emotional marathon. For many, the morning commute is their first exposure to the city's chaos, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day. Research by the University of the West of England found that longer commutes directly reduce life satisfaction while increasing stress and anxiety. Commuters report feeling mentally drained before even starting their workday. Standing shoulder to shoulder with strangers, constant delays, signal failures, and the ever-present announcements all contribute to a sense of powerlessness. You're not just losing time, you're losing energy, patience, and emotional resilience. The longer the journey, the more mentally worn out you arrive, making you more likely to be irritable, unfocused, and disconnected throughout the day. Think about it. When was the last time you arrived at work feeling refreshed? Many have accepted this as just another part of city life, but it comes at a hidden cost. The constant exposure to noise, tight spaces, and unpredictability activates your fight-or-flight response daily. This continuous activation of stress hormones doesn't just ruin your mood. Over time, it chips away at your mental and physical health. The commute isn't just a way to get from point A to point B. In London, it's a daily mental obstacle course that quietly wears people down, one train delay at a time. London is a city of dreams, but also a city of quiet battles. Behind the historic buildings and glowing skyline lies a lifestyle that can slowly chip away at your mental well-being. From the never-ending noise and overstimulation to the constant pressure to perform and the feeling of isolation in the crowd, life here can be as draining as it is exciting. These 10 factors aren't just annoyances, they're shaping how people think, feel, and live every day. Recognizing these pressures is the first step to reclaiming your peace in a city that rarely offers it freely. Whether you're a Londoner or simply intrigued by urban life, understanding what's beneath the surface helps you navigate it more consciously. And maybe, just maybe, it reminds you that if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're not broken. The system is. Also, don't miss our previous video. It's packed with insights you'll love. We put a lot of thought and time into these videos, so if you found value here, please support us by subscribing. It's just one click, but it means the world to us.